Alright, welcome to the third Python tutorial. So on this tutorial we are expanding our taxify calculator system. So our system on the previous video was calculating the change. If the amount that you paid is enough, then it will calculate your change. If it's not enough, it will tell you that your money is not enough. So what we wanna do now is to expand it and say and give a better description to say the money that you paid is short of a certain amount, like you must add maybe 2 rand more or 3 rand more, something of that nature. So how are we going to do that? The first thing that we are going to do to expand this, we are going to add another variable. So instead of having a change only, we will have a variable called to be added. So this is the amount that you must add if your amount is not it's not adding up to the taxi fare, something like that. So the money to be added, or let me be more descriptive, amount to be added. There is amount paid and amount to be added. Like if the user pays money that is less than what is required, then they must add more. So now how are we going to do that? We can determine it by using the taxi fare and the money that the person paid to determine how much money must be added. So now we're going to calculate that if the money is less, because here it's saying if the money is greater or equals to this, then everything is fine. We calculate change. Here happens if the money that you paid doesn't cover this 12 rand or is less than this 12 rand. So here we are going to calculate another amount. So amount to be paid to be added is equals to taxi fare minus the amount that you paid. Then this will give us the money that you must add. And remember, here we said amount paid minus taxi fare, because the assumption here is saying the amount that you paid is bigger than the taxi fare, so it makes sense to minus the taxi fare from the amount that you paid. But here we are saying the amount that you paid is less than the taxi fare. It makes sense to say the taxi fare minus the amount that you paid, something like that. So our message now must include this amount. The amount you paid is not enough. Then we say add. Then here we are going to say add. Then we put the money to be added. This will print the amount you paid is not enough. Add 2 rand, for example, or add 3 rand, for example. So what we are going to do now, we are going to fix the issue of every money that comes from the user must have a float here, because the user will give us a string and then we don't want a string. From the keyboard we always get a string. We don't want a string, we want a float, so as to be able to calculate the money and put it there. So now when we run our program, let's save and run, the person pays 10 rand. Then the money that you paid is not enough. Add 2 rand. Makes sense now. We run again. We pay 5 rand, for example. The money that you paid is not enough. Add 7 rand. So now our calculator is making more sense now. It's making more sense. Like it's very, very usable. But there are problems that we are still going to address. So problem number 1, let me clear again. We fix problem number 1. Clear. We know that a taxi usually takes 15 passengers. So what we will do, we will expand our explanation, calculate change on taxi fare if the amount paid is enough for 15 passengers. Then here we will declare the number of passengers equals to 15. So this variable is holding the number of passengers in a taxi. We want to calculate for all of them. The problem with doing this, if the first person comes, we must run the code and then calculate change for them. Another person comes, we run the code, we calculate change for them. Another one comes, we run the code. So we are going to run the code 15 times for 15 passengers, which just doesn't make sense. What we can do, let me bring back the terminal. What we can do in this situation, I want to minimize the terminal. That doesn't look like I'm winning. Alright, what we can do in this situation is to use Python for loops. So let's say using Python for loop. So a for loop is like it will run the program automatically 15 times, like doing the same thing 15 times. A loop is like doing something again and again and again. So what we want to repeat here is this part. We want to repeat this part. We want to get the money from the user and then calculate this all the time. So let's pack this at the top so that we don't get confusion. We want to get the value from the user, we calculate change. We get the value from another user, we calculate change. So a simpler way of doing that is to say for passenger, for each passenger in range is a keyword 15. Then we put the colon here, and then every code that must run under this for loop, in this for loop, must be indented under it. So now they are in the same line. This means this code is not going to execute under the for loop. So what we do, we indent the whole code to be under the for loop. Now the whole code is under the for loop. You just highlight the whole code, then you click tab, then it will be under the for loop. So now when you run the program, it will try to run 15 times for everyone. So we can save and run. It's saying enter the amount. The first person pays 12 rand, there is no change. The second person pays 15 rand, there is 3 rand change. The other person paid 3 rand, they must add 9 rand more. Another person pay 8 rand, they must add. Another one pay 40. Another person 22. Another one 15. Another one 12. So it will keep running for all the people in the taxi terminal. Everyone in the taxi. It will keep running until you get to the last person. So now your code just looks at the number of passengers in the taxi and calculates the change for everyone without having to run it time and again. We solved 2 problems now. Problem number 1 was calculating the money that the person must add if they are short. Then problem number 2, we ran the code 15 times without clicking play 15 times by using a Python for loop. So this is a Python keyword for declaring a for loop. It's for, then this is just a variable. You can write anything here for each passenger in a range of 15. So it means this represents like 1 passenger in 15. They will come one by one until we get to number 15. Then we calculate for all of them 15 times, and then we have change for all of them. I will come with more for loops because here it's a bit confusing. Tango.